Okay, so my name is Kristina Pikelj. I'm associate professor at the University of Zagreb, Faculty of Science, and my task is to tell you something about, okay, so this is a reverse, okay, to tell you something about relationship between geology and the pollution that is going on here in Dugi Rat. Okay, so there are several things I would like to emphasize here. First one is lithology. So what kind of materials do we have here in this area? The second one is geomorphology. What kind of relief do we have here? And the third one is sea sediment input. Why the sea sediment is really important? Because sediment that actually enters the sea stays there, and it is considered as a final sink for all pollutants that we actually enter into the sea system. Okay, where are we now? We are in central Dalmatia. This is a general map of the Eastern Adriatic coast. And as you can see, most of this coast is built in carbonates. This particular area is actually completely built in flysch. Flysch actually stretches between Kastela. So I think I have a circle, yes, okay. So between Kastela and Ploče, so this is the whole area where flysch is actually facing the sea. And this is very important for sediment input and relief development. Okay, what about lithology? Do I have to say here? Okay, so before lithology, I have to say something about tectonics. So this area is faulted and folded. What does it mean? So we have compression from both sides, and results of this compression are reverse faults and folds. As a result of this tectonics, we have several strips of coastal, let's say, relief, elongated forms, which are actually elongated in the same direction as the coast direction. And the main thing here you can see is actually are two colors that are interchanging in the land. The green ones are Cretaceous carbonates. Cretaceous carbonates are made mostly from limestones and dolomites. And the main processes here, or process, is karstification. The second one, the yellow one, is Eocene flysch. So it is completely different kind of rock, or maybe it's better to say it's a rock assemblage. It is made of breccias, sandstones, siltstones, and marls. I guess that all student teams have a geologist or geographer or environmental scientist, and you can ask them or me after this presentation what is the meaning of these words. Okay. For this Eocene flysch, you see Dugi Rat is actually on the flysch area. The main thing important here is surface weathering and surface flows. I mean water surface flows. Okay, what about geomorphology? I will also refer to Cretaceous carbonates and Eocene flysch. You can see this, the upper picture is taken from the boat in 2019. And you can clearly see those strips of Cretaceous rigid ridges. They are higher, they are steeper, and the most important thing, they are permeable. What about Eocene flysch? They are a little bit lower. They are earthy, and they can easily be weathered. So surface flow actually during this weathering process actually make a lot of material that enters into the sea. And of course, important thing here is that it is really in contact with the sea. Okay, what about water flow? If we check this general water flow in this area, we can see that rainwater or water coming from the inland part actually can go into the karstic part of this area. And once when this water comes to the flysch, which is not permeable, it will goes up and it will fill the water table, and then it will occur on the surface as a spring. There are lots of springs in this area, and those blue dots along this coastal area between Split and Omiš is really rich in those surface flows, beginning in surface springs. Okay, what about sediment input? The main question is there or is there not terrigenous sediment input? In case of Cretaceous or any kind of carbonate rocks, there is no, or there is really a small amount of terrigenous sediment. But, okay, so in this case, the water, the sea is clear and so on. We can swim, we can snorkeling and so on. In case of Eocene flysch, we have a completely different situation. There is a considerable sediment input, and this picture is taken in Split area. This is marly flysch, so it is earthly material, easily weathered, and it actually produces a lots of mud. What is mud? Blato or mulj, okay, in Croatian. So it's a sticky, dense material which actually enters and it is deposited in the sea, into the sea. Okay, there was one campaign of sediment sampling in this area. On the upper picture, you can see me, and behind me, you can see this factory peninsula. We sampled mostly mud from water depths between 9 and 16 meters, and it was clearly mud. You can imagine what kind of mud we can sample from depths here in this area, from depths, let's say, at 20 or 30 meters. Okay, why this mud is important? Because it contains clay minerals. Clay minerals are not alone in this material. There is also quartz and calcite and so on, but remember, you should consider during your tasks this clay mineral composition. Okay, now I will just emphasize several things about factory products and their relationship to geology and sediment. So the first one is, okay, several questions you should consider as well. What can be found in the coastal sea and coastal area and the sea environment? Is there any relationship between or interaction between products and sediment? What about interaction between these products and the marine life? And what are long-term consequences of the input of these products into the sea? Okay, the first one is calcium carbide. It is unstable when it's in contact with the water. And it was produced here to be further used for production of acetylene. So it is a gas, it is used as a fuel. And calcium cyanamide. It's a chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizer which is also not so stable when it is in contact with water because it releases ammonia. Ammonia means that material entering this coastal sea will be enriched in organic matter. And you know about, you heard for eutrophication. Our coast is oligotrophic. and eutrophication is not what we want here. Okay, the second one is ferrosilicon. It's a ferroalloy. It can contain up to 90% of silicon, and it is used to remove impurities from metals. And it is used in generally for cast iron production, but there are also other several uses. Let's say it can be used for hydrogen production. And the main thing I put on this slide, but there are also other things, other ways that ferrosilicon can influence the environment. I just put that it actually reacts with the water and it can release toxic gases. The next one is ferromanganese. Also ferroalloy. It can contain up to 80% of manganese. And it is also used in steel impurity removement. And the main thing I emphasize here is considerable CO2 production. But as Ivana showed on her slides, there are also many other heavy metals entering the sea during the whole process of all of these products. Okay, and the most, I would say, dangerous one is ferrochromium. It is also ferroalloy. It can contain up to 70% of chromium. And it is used to stabilize stainless steel, because all the stainless steel we use in our life, we want to be stable. Okay, for example, if you cook something in a stainless steel, you want to be stable. Okay, chromium-3, Ivana shows some results from testing of this material from Dugi Rat factory. Chromium-3 is basically essential trace element. It's not so easily soluble, so it is usually let's say it stays in particulate matter. But chromium-6 is a more dangerous one, and it is usually produced during the ore or chromium deposit weathering. It has high toxicity, and the most, let's say, dangerous thing about this chromium-6 is that it is stable in oxidized water. Our sea is oxidized water, so it is really the most representative form in the sea. Okay, we know that it's toxic for humans, it's a mutagen, and it can provoke cancer. Also, marine organisms and terrestrial plants can easily uptake this chromium-6. Of course, we can eat fish and mussels and everything else and get exposed. Ferrochrome industry is one of the biggest contributors to chromium-6 pollution. And the thing that, why actually I did mention clay minerals. Clay minerals can be used to reduce chromium-6. How? Clay minerals have this ability to exchange metals between environment, seawater, and itself. And some of clay minerals can actually desorb iron and absorb chromium-6. Even some studies show that some other kind of pollutants like microplastics can also absorb several or different kind of metals, including chromium-6. Okay, what about Dugi Rat Peninsula? Ivana, the blue one, the blonde one, yesterday told you several things about this peninsula on which factory was built. So it's actually a natural flysch extension. There are several natural flysch extensions between Split and Omiš area, and Dugi Rat is one of them. So there was sufficient place for factory deployment. The important thing here that Cetina River is really near, and it was a main supplier of energy for factory deployment. Bathymetry in this area is really good because large ships could come here and bring the raw material or materials used during the 100 year of production. And during the time, this peninsula was actually extended, and during this extension, slag material was used, and you heard about that yesterday. Ivana told you about these big rounded bonbons, which are actually not just the slag material, but also raw material not processed and not used, and compressed and dumped into the sea. So you can imagine that more or less the area seaward from this red line was actually extended into the sea, and it is made of this dangerous material. And of course, you can imagine the rest, and your task is not easy because you have to actually consider this problem, I would say. So I think I'm finished now.